there is a creature. When it was alive, dinosaurs wouldn't dare touch a single hair on its body. In 1985, a geological team in Texas, USA, blasted through a layer of rock. Inside sat a monster, in a posture as if it were waiting for someone. Waiting for 250 million years? The first reaction of the paleontologists upon seeing it was not excitement, but calling their colleagues to ask, "Are you sure this isn't two different animals stitched together?" The front half looked like a crocodile, the back half like a Tyrannosaurus rex. Its head was absurdly large, its teeth longer than a dagger. But what really kept the scientists up at night was not what it looked like, but the scratch marks next to the fossil. Those were made by the prey in its final moments. And that prey's body size was 3 times larger than the Titanophoneus itself. How on earth did it manage that? The answer? Shattered everyone's understanding of the prehistoric food chain? Let me give you a number first. In the Late Permian period, approximately 260 million years ago, on Earth's land, there was only one predator weighing over half a ton. It was the Titanophoneus. Its scientific name is Titanophoneus, meaning giant killer. It was nearly 4 meters long, with a shoulder height of over 1.5 meters and weighed nearly 600 kilograms. Twice the size of an adult brown bear. Even more bizarrely, its skull accounted for 1/3 of its entire body, and on top of its head sat a ring of bony protrusions as if someone had pressed a broken crown onto its forehead. When scientists first saw this structure, they were collectively silent. No textbook could explain what this thing was used for. Let's set that mystery aside for now. Let's talk about how it hunted. In that era, the most common large herbivore on Earth was the Dicynodont. It was 3 times the size of a Titanophoneus, with thick skin and hard bones, and as strong as an armored vehicle. By all logic, the Titanophoneus shouldn't have dared to provoke it. But the story told by the fossils is the complete opposite. Bite marks from a Titanophoneus frequently appeared on the skeletons of Dicynodonts, not just scavenging remains, but tearing flesh from a living creature. The bite marks penetrated the bone, reaching a depth of 4 centimeters. Computer simulations reconstructed its cranial mechanics. Its bite force exceeded 2,000 newtons, twice that of a modern lion. Its 2 downward curving canine teeth, each nearly 15 centimeters long, could directly pierce the prey's neck and spine. It didn't chase, it only ambushed. When the prey approached, one bite sealed the throat, piercing the central nervous system. The prey fell to the ground before it could even struggle. Those scratch marks were left by the prey in its final moment of life, instinctively clawing at the ground. But the most shocking part is yet to come. The most absurd identity of the Titanophoneus is not that of a top predator, but that it is your ancestor. I'm not joking. The Titanophoneus belongs to the therapsids. Today, all mammals on Earth, dogs, cats, whales, bats, and you are all descended from this branch. 260 million years ago, you had a distant ancestor, weighing 600 kilograms, standing at the top of the food chain, overlooking the entire continent. And today, you are sitting in front of a screen, watching short videos. What happened in between? The turning point occurred 252 million years ago. Hundreds of volcanoes beneath Siberia erupted simultaneously. Lasting for nearly 1 million years, the atmosphere was filled with toxic gases. Sunlight was blocked. Temperatures fluctuated wildly. Oceans acidified, and oxygen levels collapsed. The entire planet turned into a gas chamber with no exit. Scientists gave this catastrophe a name: the Great Dying. Not just a mass extinction, but the Great Dying, because the word extinction was no longer enough. 96 Fontarum of marine species and 70 Fontaram of terrestrial vertebrates disappeared in less than 2 million years. The Titanophoneus died here. Having ruled the land for nearly 50 million years, it didn't lose to any natural predator. It simply fell, because the rules of the world changed overnight. But the story didn't end there. A tiny number of individuals in the Therapside line survived by luck. How did they manage to endure? By shrinking their offspring, getting smaller and smaller, getting lighter and lighter, crawling into crevices and rocks, feeding on insects and plant debris, suffering day by day in the toxic fog. Then, the dinosaurs appeared. The next 180 million years were long. With mammal ancestors living in the shadows of dinosaurs, they dared not grow big. They could only grow smarter, their brains becoming increasingly complex, starting to become nocturnal, starting to care for their offspring, starting to develop emotions. Dinosaurs, through 1 million years of pressure, forced mammals to become the smartest life forms on Earth. Then, 66 million years ago, that asteroid, 10 kilometers in diameter, struck. The dinosaurs disappeared. Mammals crawled out of the cracks. And within 20 million years, they took over all ecological niches on Earth. From the Titanophoneus to the two mass extinctions 260 million years ago, the 180 million years of dormancy, and the asteroid that changed history, this thread has never been broken. Now, let's return to that mystery. The bony protrusion on the head of the Titanophoneus. What on earth was it used for? There are currently 3 hypotheses in the scientific community. First, courtship display. The larger and more complex the bony crest, the greater the reproductive advantage. Second, a heat dissipation system. The interior of the crest had a dense network of blood vessels, which could accelerate heat loss, meaning the Titanophoneus might have been evolving toward being an endotherm. The reason you don't freeze to death in winter today might trace back to this very bone. The third hypothesis was proposed only in recent years, and it is the most paradigm-shifting. The crest shapes of male and female Titanophoneus were completely different. The males were larger and more prominent. The females were flatter and closer to the skull. Researchers began to suspect that the crest might be a visual communication system. Just as human eyebrows can convey anger and fear, the crest was also communicating to its peers information we cannot decipher today. A language from 260 million years ago, carved into bone, waiting to be decoded. But to this day, no single hypothesis can explain all the evidence. Humans have only been on Earth for 300,000 years. The Titanophoneus lived for 50 million years. Calculated by ratio, our history is only equivalent to 0.6 Phantarum of the Titanophoneus timeline. In the catastrophe that killed the Titanophoneus, triggered by massive volcanic eruptions, changed the atmospheric composition in an extremely short time. A species that ruled Earth for 50 million years died due to changes in the atmospheric composition. From prosperity to disappearance, it took less than 2 million years. Your ancestors were the last survivors of that great dying. They used all their strength to pass the baton of life down generation by generation, passing it for 250 million years until it reached you. At this very moment, as you watch this video, you are the latest leg in that long relay. So, next time someone tells you humans are the masters of Earth, you can tell them, no, we are just the newest gatekeepers. Before us, there was a monster wearing a bony crown that dutifully guarded it for 50 million years. Its name was the Titanophoneus.